Hello. I just wanted to basically set up a Commonplace book. I've never made a Commonplace book before. The reason why I've decided to make one is because I do a lot of research. If something interests me, I cannot stop myself from trying to Google it and find out more and find out relevant information and find pictures of it and save those pictures somewhere. So the result is that I have notes and notes just full of lists of things I want to know more about. And the problem right now is I don't have anywhere to put that information. I don't keep it anywhere. So there are things that I know technically I once knew a lot about, things I was once really into, and there's no record of that. And honestly, I cannot retrieve that information in my brain. I wanted to find a place to put it. And then I keep hearing about commonplacing, and it seems like the answer. So this is a notebook from Cognitive Surplus price tag, which is an Oregon-based stationery brand. And I have a couple of their notebooks. Actually, I'll grab another one. They make notebooks in a lot of different sizes and styles. I happen to get the same type of notebook for both of these, where it's like a hybrid lined and dotted paper on one side and then blank on the other. If you look real close, you can sort of see the dots. The illustrations on it are just so beautiful. I just can't help but collect more of them. And these are true A5 size, so if I grab my common planner, and this is what I'll be using for 2026, they can fit together nicely, well, almost exactly, in a cover. Is kind of the ultimate idea I'm moving towards. I chose this cover because something I'm really interested in learning more about is rocks and minerals. I know a lot of people use Stalogy notebooks or Midori notebooks. Some people use Hobonichis. I'm going a little bit off the beaten path just because I want to use this gorgeous notebook for something. This notebook is one of those where the first page is kind of glued partially, so it never fully reaches the edge. I think I might just glue it flat down here and ignore this opening page. Don't know if that's controversial or not. And then I have printed a lot of photos here of things that I thought might be good for me to start writing about. So I've got some things for Joan of Arc. There's that interview with Halsey that's making lots of rounds, so I thought, well, I listened to it and she had so many good quotes. She said some really relatable things in there that I don't often hear from artists. I've got some photos of Jane Birkin here because I randomly watched a documentary about her a couple months ago and it really stuck with me. So yeah, those are the three topics that I kind of got to start with. And I also have this here, a little cowboy code, because my Pinterest keeps feeding me cowboy quotes and cowboy lifestyle stuff, and I really vibe with that, so probably stick some of those in. In my little notebook here, I made a couple of notes on what I want to do, how I want to do it, what I think will be the most useful for me. Most of this is going to be for photos. I'm going to have a large kind of column here where I can put notes about where the source I'm pulling from is from, or I can write personal notes. That's something I see really popularized lately, is, or not even lately, just the past 4 years, to be honest, is people having margins in their commonplace books. I love that. I think it makes it look so clean. And then most of the writing would be on this right hand page, but I like how thin it looks in my drawing. I did not draw this to scale with an A5 notebook. This feels very wide in comparison. I don't know. So I just want to start, maybe move over to the next page, because if I'm right about how I want to do this, I'll probably keep a legend or key here for the book, maybe a little blurb about what the book is for. The result is we have 205 pages. To start off with, I think I'm going to draw in kind of a margin of safety here. Next, I want to make a margin here, which means I should probably measure. I feel like 2 inches is pretty much what I want. 2 inches from the crease. Something like that. So from this line here to this is strictly for like little anecdotes or labeling, kind of citing the source, and then in here is for text, and this will be for pictures. I don't know what system I want to use. Like, do I want to index based off of the page numbers I wrote in, or do I want, or maybe I make like a key system. I've seen people use the colorful dot stickers. Honestly, I don't really feel like buying a bunch of colorful dot stickers, especially if I don't know if I'm going to use them. I think I'll start by gluing these pictures in. I like this kind of layout. My hands are like covered in glue, so this is kind of annoying. You'll notice the layout of where I'm putting these pictures isn't super rigid. Like, I want them to flow nicely. I'm happy with this. Okay, I took some time to do some thinking, some organizing, and here's where I'm at. I've got some notes of things I want to copy down into here, but I am very aware of how completely redundant it is to write all the notes down in a notebook, and actually, this looks pretty nice if you ask me, just to copy it over a second time into here. But the act of sitting down with something that you enjoy, something that's informational, and taking notes of the things that stick with you was a really nice practice. Also, my trusty pen gave up on me, which is also why I needed to take some time to prepare. So I picked up some replacements. I've used many a Pilot G2, but I haven't used the thinner variants. This is a 0.5, this is 0.38. I keep seeing people using these Zebra Sarasa vintage pens, and they come in the most beautiful colors. My favorite pen color is like a burgundy or a dark brown, dark red. I stocked up on these. I did some pen tests. I think I want to use the brown vintage, which is like the most neutral brown of them all. I'm sure you've noticed, but I have tons that I want to copy down, enough that it filled 2 pages. So what I'm going to try and do is write 2 lines of text in each line here, and then half a line in between separate quotes, and we're just going to see how far that takes us. Okay, so I don't know how I managed that, but miraculously, I fit literally every single quote that I wrote down with like no room to spare. That is some crazy calculation on my behalf. Next time, if I have a similar amount of text, I'll probably split it into 2 columns, because I think the thing that's taking up the most space here is the half grid space in between each separate line. But I like this. I like the way it looks. I find it a lot easier to write small than write large. So line spacing in this notebook definitely feels a little bit too large, but I don't know. I'm not against it. I like the way this looks. I want to add a little bit more decoration to these pictures. Just a little bit. And then I think I'm going to go into this margin here, and I'm just going to start adding in personal notes based on some of these. Maybe I'll use a different colored pen for that. Sure, why not? Let's try the Zebra Sarosophy. This is a thicker pen, so maybe I'll make my notes a little bit larger. I'll just draw a little line to my notes, write my notes. Try that. Okay, I've made my more personal notes on a couple of the lines that I wanted to explain more or kind of write my thoughts behind, or like why I felt the need to copy it down. The kind of thoughts that like I'm going off of based on the information I was given. Yeah, just kind of exploring ideas, getting deeper into what they mean to me. I really like the way that looks. I'm surprised I was able to keep the writing pretty straight. I actually like the way it looks, having pens of two different sizes on the same spread. I think it looks nice. All that there is to do now is to write the source information somewhere up here, probably. I think I'm just gonna stick with these page numbers for now until I figure out if there's a different index system I want to use. I'm really not sure because I don't know what topics this book is going to span yet. Okay, cool. I guess that's my first Commonplace entry done. I'm excited to try and fill up some more of this. I don't even know when I'm gonna have the time to work on it more. I mean, truly, we will see. I really like this layout I came up with, though. Like, maybe I would label the photos, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would label the photos in the gaps in between them. I'm not feeling a super strong pull to go research the sources of these photos right now, but if it was like of an art piece or something like that, I would definitely go find the information about it. And who knows, maybe I will go back and figure out who the original photographer of some of these photos were or what dates they were taken. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this here for now. Stay tuned for more Commonplace updates. We'll see if I add more. See what my next entry's about. Maybe I'll do one of these that I have prepared.